Hey guys, good good day, I think. Can I just do a quick sound check? Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me fine? No, yes, no, maybe so. Okay, let's see. Weird. Okay. Good pause recording, so hopefully I'll be able to replay this later for folks who couldn't join us. All right, so first off, welcome. And thank you so much once again for taking times out of your schedules and your weekend. I know it's supposed to be relaxing and you're like, let's go for this workshop anyway. So thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. I'm super excited to do this because this is kind of a workshop I've been wanting to do for a while, for like probably a year and a half now since I started Canton Lounge. And it's basically, well, some people might actually ask, you said that this is going to be a live Cantonese lesson, so what is that going to entail? So just a quick introduction. I don't want to kind of go on a tangent for too long. Today, we're going to have a real Cantonese lesson. So this is the kind of Cantonese lesson that I used to do with my students in the past when I was still teaching, especially with some of my students who are a little bit more at the upper basic to intermediate kind of a level. And this format I felt was one that I personally liked a lot, and I felt that students were receptive to, and that they felt that they would learn quite a bit because it was fairly holistic in the sense that you can engage all four skills. So that's what we're going to be going through today, but we're going to be doing this as a group. So I haven't done that before, and so you'll have to excuse me if, excuse me, if I'm a little bit inexperienced with doing this in a group, especially online as well. So first off, and as you can see, this is, hooray, if you can see my screen, I have their Canton Lounge Academy. That's a big reveal, guys. If you've participated in the previous webinars, you'll see that I put a cryptic project canonical at the end of the presentation. And basically, CAN stands for Cantonese, and AC stands for Academy. The O I just tacked on to make it sound a little better. But today's lesson will be kind of like a preview of what's in this Canton Lounge Academy program. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. So you can think of this as a sneak peek into how this program works. But in any case, whether you're interested in it or not, I do hope that you guys will learn something useful today in Cantonese. Okay? All right, so we're just going to dive straight in. A quick note on the structure. Because today, as you guys have noticed, this is a 1.5-hour session. It's going to be quite long. Whenever I taught 90-minute sessions, I usually do like a small break in between. So at the 40-minute mark, we're going to take a break for 5 minutes just to kind of give ourselves a bit of a room for breathing. So we're going to do that. And let's see. So that is that. All right, so let's start. So today's lesson will be split up into a couple parts. So the first part, I'm just going to share a couple of links here, and hopefully you guys can follow along. Oops, oh, there we go. So I'm just going to share the first link here. We're going to be using this based on today's lesson with a recording that I did earlier. Can everyone see that link? quick thumbs up, quick reaction. Yes. Okay. I see Daniel saying yes. That's good. It's one person. 2 people. So thanks, Mabel. Thanks, Christian. Great. So this is a 10-minute recording, and typically every lesson we're going to, in Canton Language Academy, we start up with a recording and base our exercises and content. Yep, there we go. Thanks, Heidi. Around that recording. So I'm going to go on mute for a while, and we're just going to take maybe, I'm going to put 11, 12 minutes on the clock so you guys can go there and listen to the recording. I'm going to come back and go through the recording with some exercises around that together. Okay? Sounds good? So I'm afraid there's not going to be too much interaction in the first part of the session. The interaction is going to be the second part of the session. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start the clock now. I'm going to put it on for, say, 13 minutes. Okay. Hopefully you guys have a chance to listen to it. All right, so that's 13 minutes on the clock. My apologies, guys. I thought that was universally accessible, but apparently not. So hopefully you guys could still see the newly uploaded transcript in Google Drive. Apologies. Things don't always go well as you intended. Great. So hopefully, even if you didn't have a chance to listen through everything, and I hope that we can still go through it together once, and so you guys can get a bit of an understanding of the content. And the reason I wanted to give you guys a bit of time to at least listen to a portion of it once is because whenever you're listening to materials, tip number 1 for me is always try it. I recommend that you always try to go through the entire thing once before trying to step through it bit by bit and, pausing and just restarting, because then you're focusing on the detail, you're not getting the flow of the content. So anyway, just a quick thing there. So, as you can probably tell, this particular episode that I recorded is on living abroad and some of my personal experiences that I wanted to share in Cantonese. So, without further ado, let's step through this quickly. And don't worry if you guys feel that maybe I'm not at this level yet and all that. Well, that's kind of the point. To get to the next level, this is what I believe would be the bridge to it. So let's go from the very start. And I'm going to try and highlight vocabulary along the way I feel people won't know. And if you do know, just bear with me for a bit. So starting from the top, hello, 大家好. I'm just going to do like a Cantonese English translation thing. So, hey guys, fairly straightforward. 咁首先非常之多謝大家. So first of all, 首先非常之 very much 多謝大家. Thank you everyone. So thanks everyone very much for 收聽我哋 listening to our 今日呢個節目 today's program. 節目 is like a TV program, a radio program, and so on and so forth. I see someone drawing on screen. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Christian. Yeah, it takes the materials of a slightly higher level in order to really get in there. And if you have the right supplementary explanations and all that, that's really when you can follow along and learn, right? So, 輕鬆廣東話, this is a bite of Cantonese, the name of this show, I guess. 咁今日呢, so as for today, 正式就係第0集. So it's officially, 正式is officially 第0集, the 0th episode. 咁點解叫第0集? So why did we call it the 0th episode 而唔係第1集呢? And instead of the first episode. So these are kind of the types of constructs you want to pay attention to so you can know how to translate things like, instead of little words like that can really help. Anyway, and you've got the words like 咁樣. These are words we just put in there as native speakers to make your speech flow a little bit better. 因為我想通過, because I want to, through, 通過 is through, a very, very useful translation. 今日嘅第0集, today's 0th episode, 俾大家一個預覽. to give you guys 預覽 is a preview, not as common a word, but there we go. 睇下呢個節目每一集嘅內容. So to see this program's every episode's content, so to see the content of every episode 會係點樣嘅啦. So how it would be, 或者個格式會係點樣嘅啦, or how the format 格式 is format, how that would be. 咁其實俾大家可以睇到 and so I wanted to show you guys through this that 原來廣東話都可以咁樣學嘅. So Cantonese, we could still learn it in this way, 咁樣 is this way, right? 即係通過輕鬆簡單嘅語言. So through relaxed, 輕鬆 is relaxed, 簡單 simple 語言 language, we can also 希望可以聽取一啲有用有趣嘅. I hope that we can still listen and learn, absorb some useful and or interesting 有用 is useful, 有趣 is interesting 嘅信息 information. 同時亦都可以 so at the same time 同時 we can also 亦都可以學下少少廣東話. We can learn a little bit of Cantonese. 咁好啦，事不宜遲. Okay, great. 事不宜遲. Without further ado, another useful expression. 我哋轉移返去 let's shift back to today's topic. 今日嘅主題 is theme. If you have any Japanese or Korean speakers, that would probably be more familiar. So continuing, 咁首先介紹一下今日嘅主題啦. So today I want to introduce 介紹今日嘅主題 today's theme 今日嘅主題. Hopefully, as you guys can see, if you're starting from a basic level, the constructs in Cantonese, they really aren't that difficult. And there are lots of words you can just like ignore along the way. The native speakers throw in for hesitation and other purposes, right? 其實今日我之前都諗過. So today,之前都諗過. I thought that 幾個我想講嘅話題, a few topics I want to talk about. 不過我都選擇 but I choose still 想揀返一個 to choose 比較生活化嘅話題啦. Topic that's a little bit more lively, a little bit closer to life. So these are one of those words in Cantonese that you can't really translate directly into English per se, but somewhat close translation would be something like close to life, something that's practical in life, 生活化. 因為 because 呢個 program 嘅目的就係 this program's objective, 目的 is objective, 希望可以俾大家 we hope that we can bring everyone 一啲生活可能用到嘅內容. So inverse the order translation, 內容 content that 生活可能用到 we can use in real life. Ha is actually an interesting word. It's a word that a lot of people tend to use, used by folks like salespeople, right? Whenever they want to sound convincing, so to speak. It's kind of like a little nonsense word that you learn to use when you grow into an adult as a Cantonese speaker. So just thought I'd throw it there. Okay, continuing. 咁今日呢 So today, and if I haven't mentioned, 咁 is a super useful word. It's kind of like saying, so like one of these little words you just stuff in there. And it just gives you a bit of time to think, right, of what you want to say. So if you guys are speaking Cantonese, I would encourage you to use a lot more of these filler words. So continuing, 我就揀咗一個主題. I chose 一個主題, a theme, that is, 就係喺外國生活嘅初體驗. To, again, inversing the order, 初體驗 is first experiences. So first experiences 喺外國生活, living in a foreign country. 咁正如各位聽眾, so as every listener, 各位 is everyone, 聽眾 is like the audience. 正如 is as, so again, one of these very useful little words, but that are super hard to translate unless you already know the word. So I would really encourage you. That's what I personally do when I learn languages. I pay attention to a lot of these little words that, they seem very simple and very direct, straightforward to use in English. And when you check them up in the dictionary, it's not immediately useful, very clear in terms of the specific Chinese word that it maps to. So, natural learning listening materials, that's where you have the advantage of noticing these translations and, oh, so that's how you say it in Cantonese, right? So now, I don't know what level you guys are at, but this would be a really good starting point if you feel that this content wise is a little bit too much, but don't worry about it. Okay, we're gonna once again step through it together. So 可能有一部分聽眾所知, so maybe 可能有一部分 there is a portion of 聽眾 listeners 所知. So as a portion of listeners know, 我前幾個月, so a few months ago, send 咗個 email 俾大家. So I sent an email to everyone. Hooray for the use of English in Cantonese. 咁個 email 入邊咧, so in the email, so我講我將會, so I said that I will very soon. 會, if you guys remember from the lessons, if you've been following Cantonese, 會 is will. 將會 is it's also will, but it's in the very near future will, right? So hopefully that's a useful thing. 由香港搬去多倫多咁樣啦. So I will be moving. 搬 is moving. 由香港去多倫多. From Hong Kong to Toronto. 咁樣啦, if you guys are wondering, it means like this. So I don't know if you guys have Cantonese friends from Hong Kong or folks from Cantonese. Now we kind of have a habit of saying like this, whereas on the other hand, it's not that common to say that in English. So this actually comes from the second T in Toronto. Oh, okay, there we go. American English. I guess in British English, it would be Toronto. Sorry, excuse me. So that's that. Where were we? Yeah, there we go. 咁樣啦 actually comes from Cantonese. So if you speak to Cantonese speakers and notice their patterns of speaking English in with the Cantonese accent, you kind of see the influences that come directly from our native languages. In this case, that'd be Cantonese. So anyway, just an afterthought. 咁所以我想, so I want to. 即係 is another very useful word in Cantonese as well. 即係 means like, but not in the sense of I like. It's like the hesitate, the pause, the hesitation word we use in English, like that kind of thing. So again, very useful word to stuff in there if you want a bit of room to think. 通過呢幾個月, through these couple of months, 住喺多倫多嘅經驗, so the experience living in Toronto, 同大家做一個 so 少少嘅分享. So 分享 means to share. So with everyone, 同大家 do 做一個少少嘅分享, small share. So I want to share a little bit of those experiences with you guys. 即係so, and just another note as well, when native speakers speak in Cantonese, usually we shorten the 即係 to 即. So you'll hear this kind of a weird thing. It's like you're thinking, I don't actually know, this doesn't exist in, Yutping or romanization in Cantonese. So what the heck is that word? Well, it means 即係, like. Okay. All right. That's another one of my little afterthoughts. Continuing. 我自己覺得多倫多, so I myself feel that Toronto 係一個點樣嘅城市? How I feel is what kind of a city, or what I think about Toronto. 即係作為一個香港人咁樣. So as 作為一個香港人, as a Hong Konger. Right? 作為 is another really useful word as well. So you know how you say things like, as a teacher, and for folks who are a little bit more multilingual here, in, I guess, French is en tant que, or in Spanish, como, in Japanese, you have toshite, so kyoshi toshite, or in Korean, if we have any of those in the chat, we have 선생님으로. That's 作為. It's one of these little words that are super hard to, look up in a dictionary, but there we go. Once again, the advantage of having those, that dictionary. Those bilingual materials that we're going through right now as well. Okay, continuing. Hopefully I can get a chunk of this done, even if I don't get the whole of this done. 首先我覺得, first of all, I feel that 一定要講嘅呢, so something that I have to talk about 就係天氣 would be the weather. We love talking about the weather. 因為去到一個地方咧 so because when we go to a place, 地方 is a place, generic place, 其實 in fact 即係唔好睇小 so do not 睇小 is a very useful word, underestimate. It literally means see less. 睇 is to see, 小 is less, right? 天氣嘅重要性 so do not underestimate the weather's importance or the importance of weather. Okay, we want to switch that order a little bit. 我記得 I remember 我同阿爸講 so when I said to my dad that 我要去多倫多嘅時候咧 when I said I wanted to go to Toronto or when I was going to go to Toronto 佢差唔多 so 第一樣嘢 so the first thing that he almost said to me 同我講嘅咧就係小心冬天 so be careful of winter, right? 因為我阿爸之前 because my dad before 都喺加拿大住過 so he had the experience of living in remember 過 is the experiential past and you can feel free to look it up in one of our lessons in the at Canto Lounge 喺加拿大住過 so he lived in Canada before 佢之後其中一個原因回流 so 佢之後 he afterwards 其中一個原因 is one of the reasons of 回流 which means to come back to a place that you come from. So in this case, we're from Hong Kong. So if you go to a different place and you come back, you can call this 回流. So one of the reasons he came back to Hong Kong was, oh, and this is a super useful word as well. 所謂 in Cantonese, 所謂 is it's a little bit like quote unquote. So again, one of these things that you could probably never look up in the dictionary. 返嚟香港嘅原因就因為go back to Hong Kong reason. So the reason of coming back to Hong Kong is because 佢真係頂唔順 he really cannot stand, he can't tolerate 頂唔順 means to not be able to tolerate 嗰度嘅冬天 so the winter there 實在太凍啦 is really too cold 咁所以 so and so 而且 and also 嗰陣時 at that time 香港仲有 Hong Kong still had 好多工作機會 so there were a lot of work opportunities 咁所以就 and so he 搬返嚟 moved back to Hong Kong you know 咁樣啦 like this again right okay let's see so I think we have time to go through maybe like 2 more paragraphs and so hopefully doing this with you guys this isn't necessarily to well, first of all, this hopefully you'll be picking up a little bit of Cantonese here and there, but also this is to show you guys this is the things that, for example, I pointed out will be some things that everyone would want to maybe pay attention to, per se. And when you're going through materials like that, its vocabulary is of course important, but if you're still once again in the beginning stages and you're moving on to an intermediate stage, what you want to do is to focus on those little words, those constructs, and see how they map to English, because it's just a matter of filling in the nouns and verbs, action words, right? Once you have the full construct. And so hopefully as you're going through materials like this, you're paying attention to the constructs. I know I've said this many times before, but I cannot emphasize the importance of this enough. So that's that. But coming back from a little tangent, a little rant, continuing. 咁我自己4月中 so I myself 4月中 in the middle of April. So if you guys are wondering a couple of more useful words, say for example, you can always tack on a word after the month name to indicate whether you mean the beginning, the middle, or the end of the month. So the beginning of the month would be, for example, using April, 4月初. The middle of April would be 4月中, and then the end of April would be 4月底 or 4月尾. So if you guys are re-listening to this afterwards, you can look back at this. Okay, 飛去多倫多 flew to Toronto. 咁我亦都 and so I also 飛咗之後咧 after I flew 就有冬天嘅初體驗 so I had my 冬天嘅初體驗 my first experiences of winter 因為其實我點解揀 because actually to explain why why I chose 呢段時間 this particular period of time. 呢段時間 very useful small expression as well. When little expressions like to do with time in particular, period of time, they're not always that direct to translate. So there we go. We now know how to say 呢段時間, period of time in Cantonese. 去加拿大呢, so the whole sentence. So the reason why I chose this period of time to go to Canada, right, 係因為我想避開 is because I want to avoid 冬季嗰種寒冷嘅天氣. So 冬季 季 means excuse me, 季 means season. That's right. Sorry, my brain is dead this morning. So a little bit more familiar to folks who are Japanese or Korean speakers. So we have kisetsu. It's that ki or kejeol in Korean. On a separate note, 寒冷 is really cold, freezing cold 嘅天氣. So freezing cold weather I want to avoid in winter. 咁所以我諗住 so I thought, and this is a really good occasion to mention the 住 as well. A lot of people have, I feel, or well, not a lot of people, but some people have, come to me in the past and asked, how do you differentiate between 咗, 過, and 住 when using the past or the past? Sorry, that would be, or really, just how would you use 住? Because we talked about 住 as being a state that continues, right? And this is one of these occasions where I would point out that looking at Cantonese from a grammar perspective, it's not that it's not useful per se, but sometimes there are a lot of these expressions that they just come as part of the sentence, and it's not as useful to go through and break it down from a grammar perspective than it is to simply understand it from the full context. And it's like, so I have the sentence in English, and I have the sentence in Cantonese. I just need to remember the sentence in Cantonese, and that's a direct translation of that sentence in English, instead of trying to break down, oh, so this is the verb, and then this is the little word, particle marker that I have to add after it. That's a lot of complexity. All you have to do is to remember the sentence, and I think that's a more direct route to actually learning the language. So anyway, that's something that I just wanted to point out as a quick learning tip. 大致, so in general, about, 其實4月 actually April 應該非常之春天. So it should be fairly summer-like. 非常之春天, it's like one of these things that, in let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's a really good translation. Thank you, Christian. So 諗住, I guess it would be better translated to intend or to plan to want to do something. So for example, 我諗住去, I don't know, 去肯尼亞去旅行. So I'm thinking of, or I'm planning to, going to 肯尼亞 is Kenya, for reference, to go on a trip, to travel. Right. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So it's like some of these things, when you tack on these words, it kind of changes the meaning entirely. So it's just easier to learn it as part of a construct. So anyway, getting back to this, 應該非常之春天. 非常之春天 would be one of those expressions that I feel that my teachers would probably come down on me hard if I ever wrote that down. But it's perfectly fine to say out loud in Cantonese, right? So if you translate this to English, it means really spring, which doesn't, again, it's not something you want to write, but it's okay. People can understand that, right? So give you an idea of how to be flexible in Cantonese as well. You don't always have to stick to the rules if you know how to bend them in a certain way. 應該, so continuing, 應該唔會再凍啦. So it shouldn't be cold anymore. 咁所以, and so 嗰陣時, at that time, 揀呢個時間, choosing this period of time, 就 perfect 啦. It's perfect. Okay. So it is at this point, I think we've reached that 40-minute marker. So I'm just gonna, I think that we probably don't have time to go through all of this. Unfortunately, that's all the lesson time that we have. So I'm going to put another 5-minute break. Hope people are still surviving in there. Don't want to overwhelm you guys too much, but hopefully that was a quick breakdown of the syntax and vocabulary and back in English. And I will see you guys in 5. And if you guys want to chat, let's do that as well. So putting it 5 minutes on the clock. No, thank you, Christian, for coming in and listening. I really do appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I guess don't worry too much about that. Pronunciation is once again my as a personal rule when I'm learning languages. As oh, there we go, awesome. So we have a lot of ABCs in this group. It's pretty interesting. Cool. Don't worry too much about pronunciation. I mean, the general rule of thumb that I try to follow is when I'm speaking a foreign language, as long as the other person understands me, I feel good enough. And if I say something a little bit weird, usually you can tell, just from a weird expression, look on their face. And you can always ask, did I say something a little bit weird? And, could you point it out to me? If it's practical to do so, right? Because sometimes you just want to communicate. And yeah, I don't know about one of those small words. I think they're important per se, but if you leave them out, it's not gonna kill the situation. But it's there to help you, right? Because can you imagine speaking English without using any of these little hesitation words like so, like? Then you'll sound well. Actually, from the perspective of doing a speech or communicating with people, that's kind of what you want to do, right? To avoid these words. But when we're talking to friends and family and all that, you just want to have a good time, and those words are there to help you. So my personal stance on those filler words is I'm for them, but I can see how that would upset a certain group of purists when going through that. So fortunately, unfortunately. Uh, yeah, I think with regards to the daily environment, I don't know. Learning a language when you don't have the language environment, I think it's possible, but it's hard, I think, because you don't really have a chance to use it. And you don't have the chance to really, you can certainly work on the listening part, but how would you use it if there's no one there to use it with, right? Of course, you can say, I can find a partner and find a teacher to practice with, but it's not the same kind of an experience compared to when you're actually living life through that language, right? So, but of course it's possible. I don't want to put a dampener on people's efforts to do that, so to speak. And Let's see. So I see, are we on page 12 on the transcript? Oh, good Lord. Let's see if we, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we're more like on page, let's see. I'm sorry, the ones I printed out was a slightly different version than what we had. Let me just find the right tab. And excuse me. Yeah, my computer is a little bit laggy this morning as well, so I apologize for that. We should be on page 12. Yes, you are correct. And there's also an Cantonese to English transcript at the end of it, so you can reference the translations afterwards if you want to listen to it again. And let's see, let me just catch up on the chat window. Considering that dropping the English filler into a Cantonese sentence sounds like negating the sentence, I've probably learned the. Okay, well there you go. Some people are the huge fan of those little filler words. And what is demoralizing is when a native speaker asks someone else to translate what you're trying to say because they're not used to. Yeah, I guess that is true. That's why I always jokingly say that native speakers they're the toughest crowds, one of the toughest crowds to deal with. They're relentless, man. I mean, they expect you to speak like a native speaker, and they don't have a lot of patience when listening to foreigners speak. And the way around that for me personally is just to find a couple of people who aren't like that, because not everyone is like that, right? It's just that I feel in Hong Kong we tend to have that kind of an attitude, and it's not great, but that's how it is. That's the cultural norm. So somewhere here, 但係諗唔到落咗機去咗. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I should probably have done a little bit more to. Let's see. Where are we? 即係回流. So we were on the middle of page 12. So just because 但係諗唔到落咗機, yes, there we go. That is correct. So unfortunately, we probably won't have time to finish all of that. So hopefully you guys can still go back and look through the translation, go through the recording, and do that together. Do that on your own independently as well. Let's see. It's catching up on comments still. My language is fossilized probably for me. I'd agree with that. That's probably when I felt that my native languages, at the very least, they just stopped growing per se. And it was really learning, the different registers, learning how to work our way around languages and, puns and more advanced features of language. But the basis, I think it's pretty much frozen then. Maybe show the transcript on screen share. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew, can you not access the links well? Are they not working? We'll get back to you. Christian, this is kind of a big question, so you don't have to go through super in depth. What is your opinion about Cantonese might be disappearing, especially since Mandarin is learned in school in Hong Kong nowadays? I honestly, that's a good question. I think I've answered that in one of my blog posts before. Cantonese won't disappear anytime soon. I mean, in the world, there's like 72 million Cantonese speakers. Yes, I know, it's surprising, right? But in Hong Kong, I feel that for the most part, most people still cling on to Cantonese. I mean, it's a different story if everyone started speaking Mandarin, but just because certain schools, and note that, for example, in primary schools, I think the percentage is like, 50, 60% teach in Canton and in Mandarin. But for secondary schools in Sorry, I think we're going a little bit off topic. I'll continue. But for secondary schools, I also think the last time I checked, there were only 30% of schools using Mandarin as the language of instruction. So I don't think it's going to disappear anytime soon. But it is starting to feel a little bit, I think, marginalized by Mandarin. So sad, but it's true. Did you just do a tongue click? Haha. Yes, I think I did. Excuse me. Andrew, yes, I have it. Just maybe easier to follow along. Ah, okay. I do apologize. Yeah, I kind of wanted to, uh, I think, avoid doing that. Just to make this a little bit more exclusive, just for you guys who are attending. So I didn't want to show this on the screen when we do the replay afterwards. So it's my little reason for that. And let's see, question. It makes me sad whenever I hear people say it's dying, but we do see more and more people learn it online, just which is encouraging. Yeah, I think I've noticed the Canto sphere is has been a little bit more alive recently compared to before. And I'm learning as a Swedish Oh, cool. Awesome. That's really encouraging to hear as well, for example. So just for the fact that I fell in love with the language, thank you so much. It's really just inspiring and encouraging to hear foreigners still, you guys haven't forgotten about Cantonese yet. All right. So I think with that, we're just going to continue. And so in the next segment, this will be a lot of, I hope that you guys will jump in and interact. This will be the interactive portion of the session. And I realized I didn't go through everything, but these questions, they do cover the entire text. So after I ask them, you can feel free to go through the PDF and just see what sections are relevant. You can reference even the English translations to answer these questions. So hopefully just shout out, you can shout out in Cantonese, you can shout out in English, and you ping whatever you want to do. That's perfectly fine. Just try and, I hope you guys will participate. Okay. So question number 1, I'm going to read each question out in Cantonese, and then I'm going to follow that with an English translation. Okay. So question number 1, 根據上下文，預覽咩意思呢？ So 根據 means according to, 上下文 according to, so 上下文 is context, 上 literally up and below text. So according to the context, 預覽, what does that mean? So if we flip back to the first, I think, paragraph that we had, what does 預覽 mean? Does anyone have an answer? Let's type it very quickly in the text box. Fish belt. Okay. I think we have someone. That's actually very close. That's Yu Lam. This is Yu Lam. I know the tones are a little bit hard. So close. Technically, that's not incorrect, but that's not the particular one we have here. So what does Yu Lam here mean? Let's see. Yep, so Yu Lam would be written like this for fish belly. Oh yes, we have a correct answer, preview. That is correct. Awesome. All right, so continuing. So in Cantonese, 今日個主題係咩呢？點解揀呢一個話題呢？ So what is the theme? 主題 is theme of today's episode content, and why did I choose this theme in particular? Again, feel free to browse through the PDF to find an answer. "今日個主題係咩？點解選擇講呢個話題呢？ Anyone? Any takers? again, I feel like we have another correct answer. That is correct. So the 主題 is 喺外國嘅初體驗. So my first experiences abroad, and the reason I wanted to, so that's one part of the answer, but why did I want to choose this topic in particular? So to answer your question, Christian, to find the answer, yes, we have the correct answer. Thank you, James. So thank you, Chikako and James, for participating. Yeah, because it's hopefully it's an experience that people can relate to. Yeah, so it's 平時我想揀一個生活化嘅話題. I want to choose a topic that's a little bit more common. There we go. And 平時大家可能遇到嘅, so something that folks might be able to run into, right? 遇到嘅. So that's question number 2. Oh, you guys are really on fire. Every time I do something like this, it always surprises me because people just come with the answers so quickly. And it's like, is there even a need for me, for a teacher to be here in the first place? Continuing. 咁今集主要講過邊3個話題呢? So writing the question. 今集主要講咗邊3個話題呢? So that means in this episode, what 3 topics did we talk about mainly? So this goes beyond what I've gone through, so you might have to browse through the PDF a little bit as well. Oh, I see two of the 3 correct answers from TY. Thank you. Weather, food would be 2 of them. What about the 3rd one? Experiences in Canada. Great. Generally, any to be more specific? Anyone? So Christian said experiences living in a different country. That's correct. A little bit more specific. And Chicago said the season. Yes, that's also correct. That'd be part of weather, I think. I'm sorry, I have to scroll through all of this as well to find the right reference. So right at the very end, I feel if you guys go scroll, let's see, to, oh dear, I have too many tabs and not enough screen real estate. So if you scroll through to page 16 of your PDF, you'll see the 3rd answer. So those would be things, the 3rd thing would be things I like about Canada. So the people in particular in Canada. Yeah. So that would be that. Because I said, let's see, does everyone on page 16? I said, 我搬咗過嚟之後好明顯. So after I moved here, I in a very obvious sense, 覺得自己, I felt that myself, 成個人, my whole person, 鬆咗啲嘅. So I became a lot more relaxed. Social atmosphere, yes, thank you. That's another way of doing it. So 你會好明顯見到個社會嘅氣氛. So you'll very, in an obvious sense, feel that the social atmosphere, the social climate, right, will be blah, blah, blah. So that's answer to that question. All right, so moving on. Question number 4. 點解我之前話落雪好得人驚? So 點解我之前話落雪好得人驚呢? So this means 點解 why did I say that 落雪 Again, why, if you guys haven't done this, I don't think we've actually done this in the lesson before, but why is a way of quoting people, right? So why did I say that? Blah, blah, blah. That's an indirect quote in English. 落之前話落雪好得人驚。So we're ramping up the difficulty a little bit. Why did I say that snowing is a frightening experience? To give you guys a bit of a clue, let's see. The answer can be found on page, let's see, page 13 of the PDF. Any takers? Or conversely, if you're a little bit more confident in reading Cantonese, we have a translation on page, let's see. Oh my, it really isn't. Oh, there we go, on page 24. Any takers this time round? Or any brave volunteers? Why did I say that snowing is a frightening experience? I'm going to put another maybe 30 seconds on the clock. If no one answers, I'm just going to tell you guys what it is. Yes. Again, we have our brave volunteer. Thanks, Matthew. That's exactly right. Because it was snowing in April, and I said that in Cantonese. 如果4月份, so if April 已經咁凍嘅話, if it's already this cold, 好難想像12、1月. I find it difficult to imagine that in December or January 冬天嗰種天氣會幾可怕. So I found it difficult to imagine how scary, how frightening the weather will be in winter. And there was also the snowing. It was snowing from, yeah, I said somewhere, finding the right reference. So, yeah, so 去食飯. So there was a day I described where 11、12點. So when it was around 11 or 12, 個地面, so the ground was already piled, 積滿晒雪. So it was piled with snow. 即係大致上有, so there was 4-5厘米, 45 centimeters of 嘅雪咁厚. It was 4 or 5 centimeters of snow just from that morning. So anyway, excuse me for ranting. Continuing, so that was correct. Question number 5. 你覺得我對加拿大嘅印象係好定係唔好嘅呢? So do you think that my impressions, 印象 is impressions, towards Canada is good or not good? It's based on the whole text, the general feel of it. Based on my descriptions of the weather, the food, the people. So let's see, we have a couple answers from flying in. So Christian said a bit negative about the weather. Yes, that's correct. because I was like saying, oh, how frightening it was winter in particular. So I probably wasn't looking forward to it, right? So that's correct. Let's see. Continuing, Chikako said regarding food, likely positive. That's not entirely correct. I think I said something negative about foods as well. So if I let me find the right reference in the text. So I said 加拿大尤其係多倫多 so Canada especially 尤其係 another very useful expression especially 多倫多 Toronto 係 Toronto 出晒名一個非常多元化 it's famous for being very 多元化 multicultural very diverse 嘅地方 a place that's very diverse very multicultural and then I said 好多人將自己嘅飲食文化 so a lot of people so I talked about that there are a lot of immigrants here and that a lot of people 將自己嘅飲食文化 they bring their own food culture 帶埋過嚟 they bring it over here to Canada and yes, TY, that's right. There was a bit where I said it wasn't as good as Hong Kong. And so what I said was, let's go through this text in particular because I feel that's important. So, 所以喺呢度你可以見到即係乜嘢地方嘅料理都可以見到。So here 你乜嘢地方嘅料理 So cuisines from any place, right? So I don't think we've gone through that in the lessons at Canton Lounge before anyway. But so any place 乜嘢地方嘅料理都可以見到。So we can see cuisines hailing from all parts of the world. 都可以食到 and we can eat that. But 但係我自己覺得 but I feel that 雖然嘢食嘅款式係多 even though there is a lot of variety in terms of food 但係我硬係覺得 but I still feel that 至少我食過嘅嘢 at the very least based on what I have eaten so far 好多時候 a lot of the times 個味道係唔正宗嘅 the taste isn't authentic and so that's one of the evidence where I was a little bit negative and to point out that reference by TY I said 我感覺上大家食嘅嘢都係I feel that the stuff that we eat 冇香港嗰種味道 there's not that taste that Hong Kong taste 即係冇香港咁好食 so it's not as good as Hong Kong simply speaking so that there's your reference and let's see catching up with the chat so Andrew said please make sure you explore Markham and Scarborough it's not just the downtown China food for yes I've been told that the Chinatown in downtown Toronto seems a little bit old to be quite frank again not a criticism but it's just different from what I imagined but there were some good restaurants I'm just saying that in general, I felt that a generic Chinese restaurant you walk into just wasn't as authentic as Hong Kong per se. Whereas if I go to a random cha tan tang in Hong Kong, there's a certain standard of or standardized menu and a standard of cooking of the cuisine. Let's see. James said, I think this topic about food is always something I end up talking about to Hong Kongers. Yes, Hong Kongers love food, and you can probably tell it's from the variety of cuisines that we have all around. And you can basically, HP said, you can basically avoid NYC for Canto food. Is that not good? New York City? I've heard the horror stories about how Chinese food, or really Asian food, just gets Americanized in this part of America. Let's see, TY, everybody's got to eat. Yes, that is correct. Let's see. So we have Joe. Yes, it is possible. Let me send you the transcript link again. Can you see that, Joe? Great, awesome. And no worries. Here's a recording as well. You can go back and listen to it. And that is that. So we're going to continue. And let's see. We're just going to end it with one last question. 我對加拿大邊方面有正面嘅印象呢？ So 我對加拿大邊一方面有正 面嘅印象呢? So, which part of Canada did I have a positive impression on? 正面 is positive, 印象 is impression. Any brave people? Any takers here? So let me point you guys to the right section again. If we go to page 27, I believe, 27, 28 of the PDF. Anyone name one thing that I felt Canada was good on? So let's see. We have an answer from Chicago, who says all follows rules and regulations. Let's see. I think, did I say that? I no. Let's see. Oh, I see a reference there. I think so. What I said that most closely matches what you said, Chicago, was that 你唔需要扮另外一個人, so you don't have to pretend. 扮 means to pretend to be someone else. 唔需要刻意為咗某一個人. You don't have to deliberately because of someone. 或者去符合社會嘅準則 or to conform to social rules. 去扮 to pretend to be someone you're not. So maybe you're referencing that section. So the reason I like Canada is it can disregard the fact that you have to follow the rules and regulations. You can just be yourself. So yeah, I'd say that's partially correct. So great, Chicago. That was I think that was one of the harder questions. Anything else anyone wants to add on as an answer? 27, 28? No more brave volunteers here. All right, so I'm just going to tell you guys. So another thing I thought was good was I said on page 27 that 因為加拿大係移民國 because Canada is an immigrant country， 咁所以歧視呢個概念基本上唔存在。So 歧視 means discrimination， 呢個概念 this concept basically does not exist。基本上唔存在，存在 means exist. Right? So that's another thing I like about Canada. And I mean, it's not 100%, you can't get rid of it 100%, but, anyway, back focusing on the language. Also, 加拿大人識得享受, Canadians know how to enjoy, right? Enjoy life. And they know how to strike a work-life balance, which in Cantonese is 喺工作同人生個人生活 so between work 工作 and 個人生活 so personal life 取得一個良好嘅平衡 so 取得平衡 means to strike a balance 良好嘅平衡 means a good balance to strike a balance between the two so that is that and let's see so that would be the questions portion of this section of this lesson. So continuing, let's see. Next we have a couple of translation exercises. This is really where I would hope that you guys participate, or else it's just going to be me talking to myself, which in retrospect isn't too bad, but hopefully it's a two-way conversation. So I'm going to be reading a couple because I feel it's important to consolidate our understanding of some important words. I'm going to just read out 3 sentences in English, and hopefully you guys can try to translate them in Cantonese based on a specific vocab word. So the first one is 避開 which means to avoid. So the English sentence I've written down here is, I usually head over to the restaurant 15 minutes early in order to avoid the crowds. So if I say that in English, how would we translate that to Cantonese? Does anyone want to give it a try? Any questions? Any words that we don't know? Want to fill in before attempting that translation? I'm gonna put I think 1 minute on the clock, and if no one provides a translation, I will go through what I have written down. Any brave volunteers? Oh, okay, no worries. Do you want to unmute yourself? Do you guys want to unmute yourself and the? Oh, okay. So if it still doesn't work, just oh, right, that is correct. Let's see. All right, so that was 1 minute. No worries. So, oh, we do have a volunteer. How nice. 為咗避開 is actually a really good way of doing it. So thank you for that, James. And let's see. So we have a sentence from TY who says,我平時15分鐘早啲去到餐館。So what is SOZI? I'm sorry if I don't have tone. I'm just trying to like half guess this. So 所知避開go crowd go no worries. I was the same way because in the beginning I was like, what tone is it? It was super slow. 所以避開 crowd. Okay. So a couple of corrections. 我平時15分鐘早啲去到餐館. So I would usually say 餐廳 instead of 餐館 seems like, well, I suppose let's use a little bit more in overseas communities. That's perfectly fine. Some 我平時15分鐘早啲去到What I would say is 我平時早15分鐘去到餐廳. So because 15分鐘早啲 is early. I guess that kind of makes sense, but an even better translation on top of that would be 我會早15分鐘去到. 所以 is because, right? I would probably use 為咗避開 as James suggested, which is a really good suggestion. 避開個 crowds. Crowds in Cantonese is 人群, or you can say 人流. Let's see. So we have a couple more tries. So one from Matthew. Oh, great! I see someone writing in Cantonese. It's awesome. So 為咗避開 the crowds. Okay, it's fine to interleave English in Chinese and Cantonese. That's good. 我平時早啲15分鐘去間餐廳. So I'd say 早15分鐘去間餐廳. So you can actually drop the D, but that's actually a really good attempt. It's like almost perfect. So awesome. So 我平時 HP said 我平時太早15分鐘. 太早 would be or is it 提早15分鐘? Yeah, that's correct. 提早, that's right. That is awesome. 提早 means to arrive early, I guess. I don't really know how to translate that, but if you want to say arrive 15 minutes earlier, you can say 提早. So that's sentence number one. Sentence number two that we're going to have a go at is, I feel that the sushi here isn't authentic and the rice doesn't taste good at all. You guys want to give that a try using the word 正宗? So James said, it sounds like my Korean friends commenting on kimchi. Yeah, I think Asian folks in general are like saying they tend to have strict food standards. It's like, how come stuff from my own culture, abroad, it doesn't feel authentic, right? Wow, we already have a translation. So HP says, 我覺得呢度嘅澳壽司唔正宗，嗰份都what is FAN? Is that 份都唔好食? Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good. 個飯都唔 okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. 個飯都唔好食. So, let's see. I would okay. So this is actually an interesting. That's actually, I wouldn't say it's incorrect per se, but the word I would choose here is 米, because fan refers to cooked rice, whereas 米 refers to uncooked rice. And so in order to have good sushi rice, and of course I'm not an expert in this, I feel that you need to have good sushi, uncooked rice in order to do that, right? If you use crappy rice, you're not going to get good rice. So I would say 啲米唔好食, or 啲米一啲都唔好食. It doesn't taste good at all, right? So yeah, that's actually a really good translation. Anyone else? Any alternatives? I can kind of imagine folks tapping away on the keyboards, typing Cantonese, typing Chinese. All right, so we do have another Chinese sentence. So Matthew says, 我覺得呢度嘅壽司食得唔係好正宗，啲米完全唔係好食. Quick correction there. So 唔好食. Remember, when we use adjectives, 好食 is delicious. Not delicious is 唔好食. So we don't have to add the 係 there. Right? 食得唔係好正宗. That's actually not bad. What an even better translation. This is a little harder to use, but I would say 食起上嚟唔係好正宗. But that's actually a really good try as well. So Chicago says, 我認為呢度壽司嘅味唔係正宗. That's actually not that's actually a really good translation as well. Yeah, that's like a more formal way of saying it. So that's pretty awesome. So, great. So if there are no more translations, that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's all the time we have for today's session. So hopefully, just bring this all to a close. I hope that you guys have enjoyed part of this session. And I know we haven't gone through everything. There's more. And hopefully you guys have a little bit of time to go through it afterwards as well. I hope everyone's learned something. But to kind of wrap all of this up, once again, going back to our PDF, I don't think we've actually scrolled through the PDF at all. This is what Canto Lounge Academy, this is the project I've been working on for quite a bit of time, is basically. And to give you guys a bit of background on this, Cantonese Academy is a monthly program, and every month we're going to have 4 of these lessons with complete, transcripts and recordings and all that kind of good stuff. And there are exercises and quiz decks, and there's going to be a private Slack channel for everyone to ask questions, and of course there's going to be like a monthly workshop where we go through a lesson together, something like this. And of course, we can change up the theme if people find this format to be not as helpful as I would have hoped. So if you guys are interested in learning more about the Cantonese Academy program, which is kind of an extension of what we're doing today, what you guys have seen, you guys can go to this link here. And the program officially the doors open today if anyone's interested in joining and becoming a member. And just a quick note, it closes on Sunday the 30th of September, just before midnight, so at the before the end of the month. So if you guys are interested in this kind of content, if you feel that this is the kind of thing that can really help take your Cantonese forward a little bit and to make it the learning process a little bit more manageable and more consistent, I encourage you guys to check it out. And so that's a little bit on my side as a promotion. But in any case, thank you so much for attending. I really do appreciate it. And before we go, let's see. Oh, there is one, I guess, announcement I'd like to make as well. After this session, I'm going to be sending out a survey to folks who participated. And it's like, I don't know, like a 5-minute survey if you want to fill out. There's just like one question and another, like one multiple choice question and a long answered question. And just to kind of see how people thought about the workshop, if you guys liked it or not. So I would really appreciate it if you guys fill that in for me. And that's about it from my side. Do you guys have any more questions about this? About today's lesson, today's workshop, or about the Cantonese Academy program? Any questions at all? Okay, so Heidi says I like the idea format a lot, but I'm an extreme beginner. Only about oh, okay, that's perfect. Understands. I really need to get a bit further before I can use this. Yeah, definitely. And I would encourage like this. Perhaps isn't for people who are just getting started, if you're just learning the tones, the romanization. But if you have maybe around, if you've been with Cantonese for maybe around 3 months or up to, I don't know, half a year with it, then you're ready. You don't need a lot of the fundamentals. Yeah, but at this stage, if you feel that this is too much, definitely. But yeah, thank you for participating anyway. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, even though if even the material was a little bit too much, you learned something, took a little bit something away from the workshop. Anyone else? Any comments, feedback? Live feedback is always welcome. And any questions are always great. Just gonna take a sip of water here. My mouth is about to run dry. Okay, so Bell said, my language is not very sophisticated. I'm learning some advanced words. Yeah, I mean, no worries. The idea isn't to sound sophisticated and whatnot, especially when we're learning language that we don't use every day. I think that for the most, like for myself, for example, with French and Japanese and to a certain extent Korean, I focus mostly on listening and on understanding and on trying to come up with phrases that native speakers can understand. And if you can learn a word here and there, and if you can kind of practice outputting sentences and listening to new material from time to time, I feel that that's progress enough. You don't have to bump your expectations all the way out there and expect yourself to speak like a native speaker, because first of all, we are foreign language learners and we don't use the language. We're not living in the foreign country, right? So, and for those who do, we're still not native speakers. So don't worry too much about it, would be my comment to that. Let's see. So Andrew said, I'm focused on finding comprehensible input, so this looks very compelling. Also, the Slack channel to connect with other learners. Yeah, that's actually something I've wanted to do as well, to have like some sort of a Facebook group. But honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook groups. I've been a member of some, and it's like it's super, it's not a chat room per se, but people use it like a chat room. So I'm like, you know, but yeah, hopefully this is comprehensible input. This is as I think simple as it can get without sacrificing quality of the content. If First of all, why did I think to some people it feels like this is still a little bit of a step up from, a beginner's level. Well, the fact of the matter is that if I were to simplify the content even further, you guys probably will, will find the content boring because without using some advanced, a little bit more unusual, uncommon vocabulary, it's not possible to actually, create content that's somewhat compelling, right? So hopefully you guys will bear with me in terms of the content. I don't try to deliberately make it more difficult than it has to be, but a little bit of words here and there does make the content a little bit more interesting. Okay, sorry. Catching up with chat. TY says, I like the transcript format, which has all three written characters, ping and translation. And I like the traditional calligraphy font versus newspaper font. Personal preference. Plus, the way you go through it, breaking it down to 3-4 characters at a time is very helpful. Well, thank you, TY. Yeah. I won't hide it from you guys. It actually took me a couple days to write a plug-in in order to create the ping over the characters. It was something that that really frustrated me because there is no software to do that. So I wrote my own dramatic solution, right? But hopefully that gives you guys a bit of a clearer presentation, because I find reading a paragraph and then reading a Yuping paragraph, it's super, super hard. Yuping is not very friendly at all when presented in that format. So yeah, hopefully and I chose that font for a reason. That is the traditional, like the calligraphy font that people used to write in. And that's like the font that I feel that beginners and learners should be exposed to, instead of, those weird fancy fonts. And sometimes you can't even decipher them. That's the worst, right? And it's not a thing to consider when learning a European language, for example, but it is a thing to consider when learning an Asian language. So anyway, we have from Abel, the transcript will be really helpful for someone using Chinglish. Yeah, hopefully. But thank you. Yeah, hopefully you guys find it helpful. From Andrew, I'm still at a beginner level, but been trying to get to intermediate, working through the Greenwood Press readers in the moment. Yeah, I feel that I'm trying to do something. That's the format that works. Unfortunately, the problem with the Greenwood Press books is that they're limited, right? Once you've gone through them, that's done, and you're out of materials to work with. So hopefully this is my answer to that consistency problem, and not having to hunt down materials all the time. Hence, Cantonese Academy, excuse me. And thank you, TY. Well, not to me, I guess, but to Andrew. Yeah, it's really great that you guys are working through that. So it's getting to that intermediate level, it's going to take a while, but with enough time, at the end of the day, it's really just to do with time. It's definitely possible. And last of all, let's see, we have from Heidi. I like that too. I can actually use this a little as I can learn since I downloaded it. I remember a couple characters from my Japanese lessons years ago, which is good. Great. So you can actually have that certain degree of interchangeability between the Asian languages. So I really, I think that definitely, if you have a bit of experience with other Asian languages, it's a plus. It can only be, at the very least, it's definitely not a minus, right? So hopefully you'll enjoy the materials afterwards, Heidi. Let's see, from a Bell again, what's your opinion about the flashcards on the market? I honestly, frankly speaking, I don't have one per se, because I don't use flashcards as much or at all recently, in recent years. The ones that I have seen, it seems like I've seen ones for Japanese that were fairly decent per se, but the problem with flashcards is that they're not yours. They're not words that you've chosen. They're not words that are important to you. And so they're just generic words. And going through them, it's kind of like, it's just, I feel they won't stick just because they're randomly thrown together and there's no coherence to them. So I'm pro flashcards as a learning method with an app like Quizlet to throw in, which is included with every lesson at Canton Lounge Academy, by the way. But I'm not a huge fan of generic flashcards. I'm a huge fan of custom-made flashcards, especially flashcards that are made with sentences, right? So it's my opinion. All right. So I am not seeing any more questions, and we're a little bit over time. So okay, we have another comment. So I use Anki to speak of familiarity with tones. Yeah, I think that could be useful. I think, and there's also a game I think called Canto Rocks you can use that it's completely free. You can search it online, and it's super good. It's really fun as well to kind of practice your tones. And of course, we have the ping chart at Canto Lounge as well. You guys can reference. So that's that. If you guys are interested in doing that. And we have a comment from Andrew. Oh yeah, the Gabriel Weiner approach to flashcards. I know of Gabriel. I haven't actually paid attention to what he said about flashcards, but I guess we're going by the same train of thought, with regards to how we use flashcards per se. So they're good, but I think that they should be yours, and they should be sentence oriented instead of like word oriented. All right, so it's now 11:08 at this on this side, and okay, so we still have that. Yeah, that's the Gabriel Weiner. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for confirming that. Um, okay, well, so sorry, that's the same comment. No worries. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for attending. I think I'm going to put a webinar replay up. This will probably not be kicked off by YouTube. So thank you guys，多謝晒大家係啊收聽 listening in today。今日嘅 today's workshop. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, cheers, man. And I look forward to seeing you guys another time. And yeah, go check out Cantonese Academy. My last pitch for the day. And hopefully that was useful to you guys. All right, I'm just going to close off here today and work on following up all the work left for today's session. 唔使客氣啊，多謝晒大家，下次見啦。See you guys next time. Bye.